deficit, widespread food insecurity, malnutrition, declining farmer incomes, and most importantly, climate vulnerability. Food systems encompass production, processing, distribution, trade, consumption, and waste management, directly impacting economic growth, poverty reduction, nutrition, health, environmental sustainability, and social equity. Food systems are not isolatedly confined to production only. They intersect with trade, health, environment, gender, education, transport, and infrastructure. Therefore, transformation of food system would require a holistic, coordinated approach that transcends silos. Transformation of the food system is urgently needed in Pakistan because food productivity and affordability is low, with crop yields and livestock productivity below world averages and up to 40% post-harvest losses contributing to high food costs, food insecurity for 60% of the population, and hindering progress towards SDGs 1 and 2. Food system lacks diversity, producing insufficient healthy foods to meet essential micronutrient requirements, leading to deficiencies in vitamins and minerals, particularly among women and children. And we have about 40% stunting rate in our children for last 4 decades, which is actually quite an embarrassment for a country like Pakistan. We have to urgently address it, and we are trying to now take some very strong measures so that we can make a difference there. Food quality is substandard, often contaminated by pathogens and high lead content, necessitating the establishment of surveillance and monitoring systems to meet international quality standards. Low input use efficiency in food systems production, especially regarding water and chemicals efficiency. Latter is especially critical given rising water scarcity. Food system is not resilient to climate change such as floods, droughts, and erratic rainfalls, requiring the adoption of new technologies to enhance resilience or to have smart agriculture. Pakistan's food trade deficit stems from producing low quality, low value food while heavily importing high quality foods, leading to competitiveness in local and international markets. It is hoped that this event and subsequent dialogues will craft a strategic framework aligned with Udan Pakistan, the SDGs and the UN Joint Programme to overhaul the nation's food system. Such a transformation must resolve persistent food insecurity and malnutrition, build climate resilience, and critically shift the current $4 billion trade deficit into a $4 billion surplus by 2029. Luckily, technologies and methodologies are available for such transformation. What is needed is to create regulatory framework and incentives for the private sector to bring these to appropriate stakeholders in the value chain. Let me also say that in the Udan Pakistan framework that we have adopted, we have put climate change and environment as one of the pillars in which water and food security are the core areas which we have to address. And this has great implications for Pakistan with a population of 240 million people. The kind of challenges we have in this area with less than 1% contribution to global greenhouse gas emissions, we are among the top 10 most vulnerable countries to climate change in the world. And we have seen in 2022 how the floods played havoc with our agriculture. And again, in last year, 2025, there was another super flood. And on top of that, India has decided to weaponize water, and Indus Water Treaty also now is being used as a weapon by India to disrupt water supply to Pakistan. So these are some very significant challenges that pose serious threats to our food security. So we need to take this challenge very seriously, because we just have to feed our people, but we have to make a healthy nation. So there is a difference between feeding and having a healthy diet. We have to make sure that the food we have is also making a healthy nation. You have seen and you have heard in the presentations that what are the gaps that we need to plug. There is so much that goes into loss and waste in almost every crop, in everything that we produce, from basic wheat to rice to fruits and vegetables. And in every agricultural produce that we have, we are probably in terms of production among the top 10, 12 producers. But when we look at the productivity per acre yield, we fall among the bottom 1/3. And there is a huge gap in terms of our low productivity and the potential that we can achieve. So I can give you many examples. For example, we are the 4th biggest country in terms of milk production. But average yield per animal is about 2,000 liters. Today, 6,000 to 8,000 liters is average. I mean, countries are getting 11,000 to 13,000 liters per animal. So if we only doubled our yield in livestock, in dairy sector, from 2,000 to 4,000, we would probably be the #1 milk producing country in the world. And how will it impact the rural poverty? Similarly, if you take wheat, I remember some years ago I visited National Agriculture Research Council, and they told me that probably we can increase our output from 80% to 300% only by improving the on-farm management practices. So no new technology, no new investment. If only on-farm management practices are improved, we can have a significant increase in our yields or in the production. So there are huge gaps, and I think this study has very correctly identified what needs to be done. So what I would like to conclude with is that, I often say that we are victim of what they say KDG syndrome. There is one very deadly syndrome or virus that is called KDG syndrome. And what is KDG syndrome? Knowing, doing gap. Two professors of Stanford University, Robert Sutton and I think other one was Jeffrey, they came out with this study some years ago that one of the signs of a sick system or an organization is that it has a huge knowing-doing gap. It knows the answers, it has the knowledge, but does not have the system in place to implement that knowledge. It does not have the right incentives, or maybe the culture is such that they are unable to implement new ideas, or inertia is very strong. So that knowledge then remains in either files or in studies or in libraries, but cannot be put to practice. So I think this is something we have to now overcome. We have to put all our knowledge into practice. So the real taste of the pudding now not lies in becoming more knowledgeable. The real taste of the pudding is how much of that knowledge we can put into practice. So I would hope to see that, after this study, there is a very action-oriented roadmap how to address the problems that have been listed. I mean, by becoming more knowledgeable about what is your ailment does not fix the problem. The problem gets fixed only if you take the prescription and implement it. And if you are not implementing the prescription, then just becoming more knowledgeable about what ails you does nothing. So I hope that this study will be used by all the stakeholders, and we will have a radical action plan. And from I'd like to assure you which can be implemented